Welcome to the United States of Israel.
Tel Aviv or
Yeah, like why?
New Jersey. that's that's what's
That is so
confusing.
insane. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Israeli flags and 1 American flag. Welcome to the United States of Israel.
Hello, good people. It's Rob Lee. The America's collapse. The harlot is sinking. It is May the 2nd of 2026, and we share some truth today for our people. The average American lives in a godless, gruesome state, perched perpetually at the edge of ruin, living paycheck to paycheck, fearing and even dreading that they'll have to choose between medicines and daycare, that they won't be able to get a tooth pulled or they won't be able to fix their car. This is what has really happened. And they do this as they watch the devil's children rampage through what's left of their nation. And all the while, they have people, preachers, professors, media gurus, and internet so called influencers telling them how everything is wonderful and they are winning. They're winning as they are losing everything. The theater will grow more evil with more consequences. Recently, we had the hoax of the so called White House shooting. Now, when I first joined YouTube many, many years ago, it was almost 10 years ago, I did many a video about hoaxes. Many. I exposed many. In fact, it was one of the biggest things that I did back then. I don't do it now. This was not even a good hoax, brethren. By hoax standards, this one was so incredibly ignorant, so incredibly generic that it's not even worth even going into. It was simply a hoax. It was followed up by the stabbing in London of someone who was Jewish. There was a Jewish victim. And as I said, the theater and lies grow. And the reality is this: people do not care. You see, people are so tired, and most people are so broke, they don't want to hear about the state of Israel being the victim when people see them as criminals and have for over 2.5 years. As they watch them murder, bomb, slaughter, and starve, and poison children in Gaza, they don't see them the same. The only group left is the older people or the so called Fox News patriots, the absolutely crazy people. And this only angers the synagogue of Satan even more. The harlot is sinking. But before the harlot sinks, the harlot is going to go all out, to do everything that it can to hurt and destroy. The Jewish owned media and its internet operatives spin endless, brethren, false narratives and keep the people watching soap operas presented by the biggest liars in history. You see, brethren, if you're the children of the devil, you are the children of the original lie. And this is all these people do. They lie nonstop. A shooting here, there a bill, this file, that story. Lies told over and over by the serpent seed and its proselytes. Moreover, these hoaxes are designed to make the criminal the victim and have the media and the internet agents point the finger at anyone who speaks out. Each one and each day brings us closer to the one they'll use to forever change it all. It won't be long. In the opening clip, we showed a short clip of New Jersey where you had one U.S. flag surrounded by 6 or 7, 8, I don't know how many Israeli flags. Why would there be another flag in this nation, period? It doesn't matter what nation. Why would there be flags of any nation surrounding the flag of the United States unless you were conquered? And the conqueror wants you to know it. The conqueror's not hiding it. The conqueror wants you to know you are conquered. And Jews, evangelicals, governments, businesses, schools, and people from all walks of life fly the six-pointed star hexogram. In fact, as my wife is sitting here with me, yesterday we went to the grocery store. And as we were going to the grocery store down the road where we live, there was a man who had his flag outside next to the American flag. He had his big old Israeli six-pointed star flag just a flying, just as proud, just as oblivious to the truth, has no idea what the truth is. But I'll tell you right now, 50-50 says he's a regular churchgoer, but wouldn't have a clue, wouldn't know anything that's from Genesis to Revelation, would not have a clue, nor does he care. Is Jesus Christ his life? Not hardly. Now, it's a hexagram. we mention it a lot, but let's read what your father actually said about it, and then let's talk about what does it really mean. Brethren, if you have the star of the devil all over your nation, there's a problem. Amos 5:26, the words of your father, but ye, talking to his children, not the Jews, but you, the Israelites, but ye have borne the tabernacle of your Moloch and your Cune, your images, the star of your God which ye have made to yourselves, the star of the devil. Friends, if the blind churchgoers and Fox News and Trump cults ignore something as important as that and call it the Star of David when there is no Star of David, what else will they ignore? That's not a Star of David. That's the star of the devil. Brethren, if they ignore that, what else will they and have they ignored? How about the entire Bible? How about the truth that is Jesus? They do not care about your Father or Jesus. They do not care about his truths, his words. And Jesus was his word in the flesh. The most important part of this life is Jesus. And if you don't get it, you don't get it. You'll never get it. You ain't got it. Good people, this is the epitome of what has happened to this nation. Even worse than flying another nation's flag, whether it be Mexico, Canada, it doesn't matter. What's worse, brethren, is when you fly a flag that has the mark of the devil on it. I mean, only a fool could not look at that and say, wow, this is how really bad it is. The United States flies the flag of the devil everywhere. Just like I told you, me and my wife, we ride by a man's house. He's got it flying. When we first moved here, me and my wife took a cat to the vet. And we went to a place called Big Stone Gap. And on the side of the road, we passed a house. And it just, I told my wife, that's got to be the most confused SOB going. He had his flag of the Star of the Devil along with the Southern States flag, you know, the rebel flag. But they've got to fly the devil's flag. Brethren, this is what has happened to America. It's an abomination to our Father. You only have to look at that, and for those with the Spirit from the Almighty Father to understand this is where we're at. You fully start to understand what has happened to this nation and all formerly white Western nations, the original Israelite nations. And every politician wears a lapel pendant of the star of the devil. All the churches fly this evil mark. Sports venues, every government function, business, aka the merchants of Babylon, all either wave the flag of the devil or put this mark on everything to show their allegiance to evil. And almost all are completely oblivious to this fact, even though they may get mad because you see people complaining and saying, why is the Israeli flag displayed so much in the United States? See, they see it as the Israeli flag. You and I see it for what it really is. Israeli flag, whatever. What does your Father Jehovah say it is? The star of the devil. Now, no other nation on God's earth has the star of the devil as their emblem, as their sign on their flag. Just Israel, because they are the seed of the serpent. Now, the real question is this. Why is the star of the devil displayed all over the United States? The answer. The United States is an anti-Jesus nation. If you were really a Jesus nation, and the majority of this nation was Jesus, your Father would not allow it to happen. Will the flags be removed due to massive backlash from the people? No. These moments are here for those with his spirit to see what's coming. The people have for over 2 years spoke out against the state of Israel like never before. In fact, it was unheard of for the masses to come and speak against the synagogue of Satan, or who they call Israel. Moreover, it means absolutely nothing. You see, these people can bitch and moan and talk about why there are all these flags and Israel's doing this and I can barely eat and I don't have this and they have it all. They are the same people that have said, we don't want Jesus, don't care about Jesus, don't believe the book. Therefore, they can moan, complain, post, bitch, cry, scream. They can complain. They can make all the TikTok videos possible. They can post on X or any other platform. It will not help, not a bit. Because the only help is Jesus. And if you ain't with Jesus, then you ain't with it. The harlot is sinking. Maybe a No Kings protest would feed the liberals. Maybe they can get together, they can put on their gay colors, and they can bow. You know how black people, whenever there would be a black shooting, they would go to bended knee. You never see them BLM getting on bended knee for Jesus Christ, do you? Mm-mm. If liberals had a spirit, they would be marching and singing and saying, "No kings but one, and he is Jesus." However, these people are not of our Father. Like I said, maybe a BLM march, oh, the poor black victim. Maybe a BLM march will feed these people. Or maybe the LGBTQ people can put on their special colors that they mock the Father with, and this march will give them full bellies and jobs as they cheer for what your Father calls an abomination. An abomination. Will the MAGA red hat cult march and scream how Trump's going to fix it, he's going to make it all better? It's been 15, 16 months, and it's gotten far, far worse. And it will only continue to get worse because the harlot is going to sink. The whore is going to fall over, and she ain't getting up. Now, the Trump people, as they cannot pay the bills or buying groceries, and it becomes so much of a strain to the point to where people have to end up choosing between food, medicines, or gas. Do you fix the car so you can work if you're even lucky enough to have a job, or do you just go without food for days? The churchgoers will see their false god or impostor Israelis, as they like to call them, just that. And their blind and evil beliefs are coming home to roost, brethren. But there's something going on here, brethren. It ain't quite got there yet. No, 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 because it's going to get far, far, far worse. And many people, they're just oblivious to it. Is it now good people for some? Well, brethren, in this nation right now, Fox News, CNN, ABC, and your internet influencers, they don't tell you the truth of how really bad the economy is. But many are already feeling it. Why do you think we have, tent encampments all over this nation? Why do you think that is? However, for others, the kettle of water is on the stove and it's heating. It's starting to steam. And in due time, it will boil over. This is not the worst, brethren. It's merely the beginning of the worst. Unaffordable groceries, mass layoffs, no jobs, no government support, no income. Like I said, homeless encampments everywhere, limited medical facilities, limited medicines, and crime will grow worse as people have to steal and kill to survive. How about the military in the streets? Limitations on everything if you can afford to find them. A nation that has blatantly, which means with no shame. That's what the word blatant means. It means when you do something and you have no shame, I don't feel anything. I feel no guilt. I feel no sorrow. I feel nothing. So when they blatantly deny Jesus, they do it with, I have no shame. Then don't moan and bitch when you don't eat. We told you it will come, and now it has reached our shores. The harlot is going to sink. Brethren, there is nothing to be done about it, for this is your Father's will being done. The people will eat the rotten fruit that they have grown, and they will love the corrupt and live in the loving and corrupt and weak houses they have built their lives on. They have built their houses on sand, not on the rock of our Father. And when you build a house on the sand, everybody knows what happens. Slowly, sometimes it'll simply collapse. Sometimes when there's one good storm or a flood or a hard rain, it's gone. When you build something on a rock, it stands. You've built your life on the rock of your Father, and He gave you Jesus. You've built it. That's your life. You're not going to fall. Our entire purpose on this earth, the meaning of our lives, is actually very simple. And people try to make it complicated. They read dozens of books and they'll sail the oceans and they'll climb mountains. What's the mystery of life? Man, it's real simple. Really, really simple. Even though sometimes life may be somewhat troublesome, the mystery and truth of this life is actually very simple. For your Father would not have it any other way. Your Father loves us so much, but yet He's going to make the truth of life so complicated that His children can't comprehend it. From the Old Testament and from the New Testament, we read this as we continue. Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verses 13 and 14 says this: Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep His commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. There's your whole duty. Do right by your Father. 14. For God, your Father, shall bring every work into judgment, with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. Now, how do the things that we've done evil be washed away forever? Brethren, it was washed away by Jesus at Calvary. When you put your arms around him and said, I'm sorry, no more, it's gone, completely gone, because your Father loves you. And your Father knows we've done things that we're ashamed of, but your Father is so wonderful that he says, once you love my Son, and once you accept him truly, everything you've ever done wrong, it's blotted out. It's no more. Matthew 22:37 and 38, the words of the Master and King himself, Jesus. Jesus said unto him, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, with all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment. So, to love your Father with everything in you, to do right by him, to wake up every day. And there's days that you might not feel as well as you'd like. And there's going to be times that you're going to have some trouble. But you're always going to try to wake up every day and do right by your Father. To do right by your Father is to do right by Jesus. And to do right by Jesus is to do right by your Father. Let's continue. The merchants of Babylon will continue to squeeze the people for every penny they can while telling them things are getting better. It's the same as a man burning down your home and then telling you that he'll help you to throw some water on it before he finishes burning it to the ground. Now, as you come across all these people, whether it be MAGA, BLM, the cults, the atheists, the liberals, the so-called patriots, all these people, you should have as little contact and conversation with these people as possible. Be wise in what you say and how you say it. And you will see people, brethren, becoming more evil, dangerous, and cold. This is written in the Holy Word. When you encounter friends or family or even everyday acquaintances, if you have any, I don't, you should keep it to a hi, a smile, and as few words as possible. Do not be drawn into talks of this world, Israel, Trump, laws, times, prices, politics, race, and more. You always say it's just Jesus free for you, and you don't know much about anything else. Keep it to that. Remember to keep your words to a minimum. Do not trust these people at all. You're living in a time that was foretold thousands of years ago when the people around us are completely, in one way or another, following evil. And if you're following evil, you're damn sure not following the King of Kings, Jesus. And we cannot befriend these people at all. Since the dawn of time, brethren, men have put their faith in other men. Yes, they have, all through history. Men have put their faith in men. He's going to make it better. He's so good. He's going to do so much for us. And they all end up disappointed, shamed, and dead. America's empty. It just doesn't know. It has a big old hole in it. And it doesn't know, and it can't be filled. The only way that America tries to fill that hole is with evil. More and more evil. You are witnessing the end times, and you are seeing people from all over this earth turn against the system, governments, and most of all, they are turning against the state of Israel. However, turning on the devil's children means absolutely nothing if you don't love Jesus and live for him and through him. Let me tell you this as we close. For many, the ride down the mountain of lies and mockery will be filled with a great tribulation and a great pain. The enemy has these sides fighting, whether it be red, blue, left, right, black, white, and they all believe they're going to take control of this evil nation and mold it into the America they desire. Both sides are delusional, and they have no idea of the Father's wrath that is coming, and they are clueless to his great and warm love. They know not his great might, power, and truth. You see, they don't know him. And you want to know why they don't know him? Because they're not of him. You either belong to the Father or you don't. There's no middle ground. You either belong to him or you don't. Jesus told us in Matthew chapter 15:13, what my Father hath not planted shall be rooted up. When you're rooted up, what does that mean? It means you're no more. If Father did not plant you here, you don't belong to him. How do you know now in your life, no matter who you are, where you are, how do you know honestly, do I belong to you, Father God? Do I belong to you, Jehovah Father? If Jesus is your number one, you belong to Father. You always have. We were with our Father in Jesus before you came here. It doesn't matter what's going to happen because it is going to be. Your Father is still the boss, and he is still on his throne. And to the right of him is his glorious son, Jesus. Now, what's going to be done is going to be done. Jesus says, let me read something to you, brethren. I want to read this to you. We've read it before, but I want you to really think about what we're reading. Jesus says this in John chapter 14, verse 6. And let me say this to you. If it's not Jesus, I don't give a who it is. I don't care if there's 10 million people and there's billions of people that follow this or follow that. If they don't follow Jesus, it's a complete and utter lie. Jesus says this. Think about what he's saying here. Jesus saith unto him, I am the way. Follow Jesus and you can't get lost, brethren. Jesus says, I am the truth. You can't live the lie when you love Jesus, for he is the truth. And he says, I am the life. There is only one life to live. It is through and for Jesus. Then he says, and no man cometh unto the Father but by me. You'll go to the one true Father, the one true God in heaven, through Jesus, or guess what? Your ass ain't going. You ain't going. No matter what the teachers, the preachers, the gurus, no matter what the Hindus, the Buddhists, no matter what any of them might tell you, no matter what Oprah Winfrey tells you, there's lots of different ways. It's a lie. If it don't go through Jesus, it don't go. If it's not Jesus, it's 100% lies. Recently, a guy posted on a video of mine on BitChute, and he said, because we had done some videos recently about what happened in Russia, and he said they're trying to do the same thing here in America as they did in Russia, only it's going to be hard to get men with an AR-15 onto cattle cars. He's partially right. It would be very hard for the Jewish synagogue of Satan to forcefully imprison Americans as they did Russians. And let's not forget about the Germans, who were systematically murdered and sent off to gulags after World War II. However, I said he's only partially right, because he doesn't understand what's going on. No, they can't forcefully move American men onto cattle cars. But what do they do instead? If they can't send you off to camps to work, what do? How about they poison your water? How about they poison your food and more? How about they force the people to take shots and have their children take dozens of shots before they go to school or be not eligible for school? They can starve you by severing the supply lines of food and by raising the prices so much that folks cannot afford to eat. You see, they don't have to do it the way they did it then. This is now. They can shut down the grid. How about the power to your house, your electricity? How about your heating? How about your cooling? How about when it's 100 degrees outside, you don't have even a fan or air conditioner? Well, you know what, brother? There was a time that white folks actually survived without those things. How about no gasoline, oil, and more? They can shut down the supply line of medicines because their people make the pharmaceuticals. Do you know where most of the medicines that all of the people in this nation take come from? From two nations, China and India. People don't know that. They're just oblivious to it. The medicines, brethren, that you are going to take today or all have already taken, there's a 9 out of 10 chance that it's either came from China or India. Comes across the boat, comes here, then it goes to another company. They put it in a bottle for you. They distribute it. And some man who calls himself a doctor, he writes a prescription for you. Therefore, again, the man was only partially right. Moreover, you deprive a man, even if he has 100 guns and pallets of ammo. You deprive him of food, his meds, and gas, and unless he's of Jesus, he'll break. He'd serve the devil's children for bread, water, and some electricity. For you and me, we eat the bread of life that is Jesus. You drink the water of life that is Jesus. You get all you need, all your electricity, all your power from the one who says, I have all power. That's Jesus. You see, people are going to be worried about, can I eat? Can I have water? What am I going to do? If you just will wrap your arms around Jesus and trust him with everything, guarantee it, brethren, you'll have all that. John 3:35, 36, and we're going to bring it home. The words of the Master himself. The Father, your Father, loveth the Son, and hath given all things into his hand. You see, he gave all things to Jesus, not some of it. He gave him all of it. And then the words of Jesus. He that believeth on the Son hath everlasting life. And he that believeth not the Son shall not see life, but the wrath of God abideth on him. So here's Jesus saying that if you don't love me, and if we don't have a love affair, The wrath of my Father is against you already. Can the words of Jesus be any clearer? Life is about, are you with Jesus or are you not? Matthew 11:27, the words of Jesus again. All things are delivered unto me of my Father, and no man knoweth the Son but the Father. Neither knoweth any man the Father save the Son. And the word save means accept. And he to whomsoever the Son will reveal him. All things have been given to Jesus. The American tap is going to run dry. And no more shall it supply the nation of people that have denied and mocked the most precious gift the Almighty Father in heaven gave his people. You know, the Jews murdered Jesus, and they walk around now with these caps on their head, skull caps. And they do it to mock Jesus because he was buried at a place called Golgotha, the Mount of the Skull. This is the evil. This is the evil that we are surrounded by, and they do it in plain sight. 2,000 years ago, Jesus was crucified. And it hurts many of you, hurts me, hurts my wife, to know what he went through. And when his blood was spilled, Jesus became the most important thing in life. And he is the only way to the Father. Imagine mocking that your Father gave that and watched that, and then to have people mock it. Can you imagine when Father says, I don't have the words for what Father is going to do to people and to this nation, but Jesus gave us a hint and he said to his children, hold on to me and trust me, because it's going to be a time unlike any other time. But he will take care of us. How loving he is. So when we speak of tribulation, and it grows and grows, the stark reality hasn't set in yet for so many until the pain grows bigger. And I tell you, brethren, with love and certainty, this pain is growing bigger by the day. As of right now, it's May 2nd of 2026. Folks are still eating, drinking, driving, making plans for the summer. Whoo! Gotta get out this summer. And they're buying their clothes on Amazon. Can't afford them. But hey, the Jews will give you credit. You want some shoes that you can't afford? The Jews will give you credit until they cut that credit off. Folks shouldn't plan, for that time of pain is coming. And just as a kettle of water boils and eventually boils over, so shall the pain be coming to the nation of the United States of America. Let's bring it home, brethren. Last verse, Psalms 34, verses 15 through 17. The eyes of the Lord, your Father, are upon the righteous. What does the word righteous mean? It means you try to do right. That's why it's righteous. You try to do right. So the eyes of the Lord are upon his children, and his ears are open unto their cry. When you need something, when you say, Father, I need help, Father hears you. The face of the Lord is against them that do evil, to cut off the remembrance of them from the earth. These people will no longer be remembered. The righteous cry, and the Lord heareth, and he delivereth them out of their troubles. That's the great man. That's the great Father with his wonderful love. In Jesus' mighty name, I humbly thank you for being here with us today as we glorify our Father and his precious gift in Jesus. Amen.